Welcome to the show. This is Slick Talk, and I'm your host, Blackstone Joe. If you're a current customer, just a fan of the show, or someone who's using the podcast to learn more about Blackstone and what we do, whatever brought you here, I'm glad you're with us. Chances are good that whatever category you fall into, there's a vehicle that you're taking care of, and I hope everything is going well on the maintenance side. For me, I'm about to take the first sample from my Chevy Blazer. I have the 3.6 liter V6, and it's been a great engine so far. I definitely put a lot of highway miles on it, especially as of late. My wife and I have been doing a lot of traveling, especially in the latter half of the year. Been getting out more, seeing friends that we didn't get to see a lot of last year, and that's been fun. We're Midwesterners through and through because the destinations have been Chicago a couple times, made out to Cleveland, Indy, Bloomington. Indy was the most recent one for me. I was there visiting some college friends, and we stopped at Fat Dan's for lunch. We were watching the Michigan-Ohio State game. And yeah, I'll just do a quick faux sponsorship because I do love Fat Dan's. We were at the one on Michigan Avenue. And I can't think of a better place to post up and watch a game. And it's also great to enjoy a college football Saturday where I don't have to watch my team struggle and I can just, let other people go through the emotional anguish for a change. But I love Fat Dan's menu, and I definitely enjoyed smoked wings. Oh, what else did we get? Dirty Tots, which is just like a mountain of tater tots with pulled pork and nacho cheese and barbecue sauce. And yeah, you're gaining some weight when you go to Fat Dan's, that's for sure, but it's worth it. I tend to remember each and every time I go out now because I've been doing a lot of cooking really ever since the start of 2020. I was in the kitchen a lot more. I was trying to avoid door dashing myself to death, and it was actually just last night I was making dinner for my wife and I, and it got me to thinking, I love my analogies on this show, but it got me to thinking, when you finish a dish and you've gone through all the prep and it turns out good, still, no matter how hard it was, no matter what you had to learn or what you had to do, the ingredients, how obscure they might have been, at the end of the day, you're just looking for one bit of validation, and that's serving someone what you made and them just going, that's good. We aren't really looking for them to, maybe you are, but for me personally, I'm not really sitting there wanting them to ask me how I reduced the sauce or what kinds of meat were in there. If it's, like last night I was making a bolognese, and apologies if I didn't quite get that right. I took Italian in college, and not all of it has stuck, to be frank, but it takes a lot of prep, right? And I was going through all the stages, and I finished it up and I served it, and end of the day, just hearing the words, it's good, was all I needed. And it got me to thinking how often we finish a report for someone, and we might offer something similar where it's just a send-off where we're saying, keep up the good work or excellent results. And sometimes I think folks might misinterpret that as like a throwaway line or something that we just say to everyone. And that's really not the case. That's not the spirit of the line. And it really means so much more. So just like someone who enjoys what you made, if they only happen to say that's great, it really means more than that. It means that all the work you've done to secure these results, it means that all of that has been worthwhile. So at the end of the day, when I finished making dinner, I'm being completely honest with you here. It got me thinking, what are the ingredients that produce a great report? I like to start in the spectral results whenever I'm kind of walking someone through what makes for a great report. So for those that don't know, we run a spectral analysis on every sample that receives the the standard analysis treatment. So during this particular part of the process, we're looking for wear levels that are either normal in comparison to your vehicle's sample history, or we're looking for levels that are normal compared to our averages, especially if it's kind of like your baseline sample. We're trying to see what's going on. Like, for example, I'm about to take the first sample from my Blazer here soon. I have the 3.6 liter V6 in there, and it's one of those instances that I think a lot of our customers run into where they don't have a ton of service history. I could shake down the dealer and find out exactly how many oil changes it's had, but we all know how much fun that can be. So I might not do that. I might just see what the results show and then build a trend from there. But starting off, I'll be, anticipating maybe some signs of wear in. It's still a pretty young engine, but going forward, I'll be looking for trends that, point to the engine handling the use it sees and not struggling or wearing excessively in the process. So that's just an illustration of what I'll be looking for in my first report. I wouldn't consider signs of wear in to be bad. If we see some high copper and silicon in there that has yet to clear up, I wouldn't consider that bad news. But that's just a way to kind of frame the experience that I'll be having, and that I think a lot of our customers do when they're sending in a sample where they don't have a lot of background. So continuing with my vehicle as an example, I'll be looking for levels that are, relatively good, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some signs of wear in yet to clear up. I would still consider that a good report if I had some evidence of wear in, and that would be fine, but that's not where it stops. So there's a lot of ingredients here to cover in a standard analysis, and another one would be the viscosity. I want to see if that's in the expected range. If it's a very, low reading, especially if that's, due in part to fuel dilution, then that would be an area of concern. So I want to see a viscosity that's in the normal range. I want to see a lack of fuel dilution. We test for that with the Flashpoint method. And speaking of the Flashpoint, we just did a video demonstration of that test. It's on our Instagram and on our YouTube. So if you want to see how we run a Flashpoint at Blackstone, check out our YouTube, check out our Instagram. We had a comment on the video. So first of all, thank you to our followers for letting me know that our YouTube video was initially cut off. I'm not sure what happened with the upload, but we fixed it. So the full video is there for you to see now. But we also had another comment mentioning that there was interest in seeing more of the process, and there will be more. We are actually wrapping up the next video right now, and we're going to show how we do viscosity readings. So give us a follow if you haven't yet on those channels. You'll see more of the videos. But yes, we want to see the viscosity, and we want to see where it lands. If it's a low reading and you don't have fuel, it's not always a problem. That can just be the result of harmless shearing. Some engines are prone to that. That's okay. But, we'll pay attention to like a high reading as well, especially if that's coinciding with contamination from coolant or water. We'll want to pay attention to that as well. And elsewhere in the physical tests, we're going to see if there's a lot of solid material. Solid material would be quantified in the insolubles test. And we're going to see, if you want to have a low reading, obviously, because that translates to the oil filter working effectively. You also, want to be wary of a high level because it just means that excess heat is causing the oil to oxidize rapidly. And in that case, it's not like you had a bad filter. It's that there's just so much solid material being present that, no filter, no matter how great, keep it in check. So a set of ingredients that come together and form a great dish, not all that different from a set of results that come together and show that the engine is doing well. That's something else I want to make clear during this episode as well. We take all these results together. We don't say the engine's doing well based on just one piece of information and then, leave you at that. We're considering everything, the presence or lack thereof of contamination, engine wear, how the oil held up, that all combines to form, what would be a great report. I think a lot of the time people might see an overall summation of the results and mistake it for just one aspect of the vehicle, or maybe that, we're not highlighting everything that could or could not be wrong. No, we are taking a look at the engine's condition and the oil's condition and weighing all these factors amongst each other when coming together with a conclusion. So rest assured, we won't leave you high and dry and maybe not mention a result because we didn't have room, or, expect you to interpret what might be a problem on your own. We're happy to obviously provide additional explanation of like what certain elements might mean if you have questions about it, but we'll never look at a result and say, well, we're going to explain this part, but the customer should be smart enough to know that there's a potential issue with this element. We're just not going to get into that. No, we would never do that. That would be akin to someone writing a recipe and just listing an ingredient and not telling you how much of it. It'd be like you're baking and they just say, yeah, baking soda, and not telling you at all how much. So rest assured that we're giving you a finished product where we want to make clear everything that you either need to tend to, that you need to understand, recommendations on what to do next. All that comes together in a report. So when we say nice report, that means a lot. It means that your maintenance plan is doing the trick. It means that we didn't find anything to sort out. It means that, you can kind of keep doing what you're doing. So consider that just as validating, just as complimentary as that moment when you are finished with dinner and you've worked hard on it and you've sourced your ingredients and everything turned out great, exactly how you want it. And whoever you're cooking for tried it and said, wow, that's good. That means a lot, especially to me, someone who, is taking more and more of an interest in cooking and wanting to make sure that what I'm making is turning out. From that mere compliment, I can tell that the process was worth it. And when you think of taking care of a vehicle, you can think of oil analysis as the taste tester, basically. Don't actually taste the oil, though. Really, though. I'm worried about some of y'all because There are an irregular amount of comments sometimes on slips where people will say, it didn't taste weird. And I'm like, who's joking here and who's serious? Because some of you might take your maintenance that far. I don't know. But let oil analysis be the evaluator, the judge of everything that you're doing to keep that engine, that transmission, that differential going. It's a great way to know that all the steps you're taking is resulting in a finished product that you can be proud of. All right, that wraps up today's talk on the recipe for a good report. And I hope you enjoyed all my bad food analogies. There's more on the way, I promise, just because I plan on writing more reports and I plan on making more meals. So chances are good those things will combine together. But you did dodge my running analogies for one episode. So you never know what's around the corner. I'll have more for you, though. There's just so much to cover. There's so many reports. There's so many problems that people are running into and addressing with our services that I'm confident I'll never run out of topics. So we'll see what we have in store for episode 54, but that's all for episode 53. Before I let you go, just a reminder to subscribe, but also leave a review if you like what you're hearing. And also don't hesitate to send along any topic suggestions you might have. We'd love to hear them. But for now, this is Blackstone Joe, signing off.